And we are recording with George Salt and Pepper Webb, the the man with the sexiest investigative journalist on the planet. That is not fake news. That is not misinformation. That is directly from the White House. If anybody says he's not attractive, you will be struck down for misinformation, fined $1 billion, and you will be blasted away into obscurity where you will remain for the rest of your days wishing you hadn't spoken out against the sex symbol that is George Webb.
Well, if Clooney is about 62 as well, he's got a new movie out, Paradise with Julia Roberts. So uh, I know that he's got that covered, but 62 and up, I hold my own. In the 62 and up category, I hold my own. He might be a little younger than me. So yeah. But
America,
Tommy, the
America's
reason
tired of Clooney. They want a new Clooney. They want Webb.
they want they want a new Clooney. I'm not sure I'm that guy, but anyway, here is some good news though, and some bad news. Tommy Carrigan. Tommy Carrigan gets banned from Twitter. Ouch. Not,
Fun.
not. So I'm going to do everything I can in my power to make sure that you can get people over to Getter or Rumble or
Thanks,
wherever.
man. I appreciate
Where
that.
we're going to get the lifeboats out. This isn't going to be a Titanic operation where we just get the bankers.
we just
Oh,
get Astor and Vanderbilt and yeah.
do you want bed now? Come on.
Yeah.
If you stay
I'm
there.
I'm trying to drive everyone over to Telegram. So I kind of look at my audience as like one mass. So I keep track of the entire audience number. So I have like my Rumble, which is most of them, BitChute, Odyssey, Spotify, but I assemble that entire mass into like an Excel sheet and I use that as like my total audience. And Twitter was my second biggest audience. So that's definitely kind of a kick in the nuts. That was I have 12,000 on Rumble. I had 1,500 on Twitter. The rest are all below like 100, and I'd lost 1,500. So I'm definitely feeling that in my numerical record keeping. That was a kick in the nuts.
Well, I've set about myself to try to help in any
Thank you,
way I can
sir.
with the life. Yeah, and you can find some of Tommy's stuff from Rumble on my Twitter and other stuff. So the reason I'm here in Los Angeles is because of this Eugene U. They call him the embraceable U, and Eugene U is in a deadly embrace with over 1,000 counties in America. And I'm telling you right off the bat, the guy who's done the work here is Harry the Greek. I have had him on. He's got the receipts, man. He has got the receipts for this Eugene U. If you look on my Twitter, you'll see the receipt for the LA County. He got his start in. They got their start in 2002 ish with the city of Detroit, but he's really an LA guy. He's been very close to Adam Schiff, and I didn't know about you in 2016, but I knew that when they want people to come here and have kind of a brain trust, who do we need to invest in across all these different elections? There's about 3,100 counties in America. They come here to Adam Schiff's Beverly Hills. Not too far over there is the Wilshire on Wilshire Boulevard and I'm real close. And I went there last night. Is the Waldorf Astoria, which is supposed to be the command center. This is where Debbie Wasserman Schultz was when they flipped the money over from Bernie to the Debbie Wasserman Schultz candidates. And they were all looking for Imran Awan's iPad to do the money transfer. And she was conveniently here, even though she represents a district in Florida. So I naturally came here. Now, this is an interesting story with this Eugene Wu. This company he has is called Konnech. It's Konnec. Have you heard
Okay.
this story?
I've heard of the name. I didn't know that was. I've heard the name you, and I didn't know they were of the same.
Yeah, he's the CEO,
Oh,
and
okay.
and they have 1,000 some counties. They originally got the DoD contract. Again, all props here to Harry the Greek. Brassballs.blog. I'm just promoting it. Go there for the
Shout out
source.
Harry. I'll put the link in the description.
Yes, please. So, and if my phone dies here, go there for the juice. But he has all the receipts. But they originally got the DoD contract for all the military people voting overseas. Now you say, oh, okay, well, this is fine, George. You know, he's a naturalized American citizen. He's from China, but naturalized American citizen. Until you get into the fact he does elections in China, until you get into the fact he's connected to the Chinese Communist Party, then you go, wait a minute, this is the guy doing American soldiers voting overseas in our elections? I'm not kidding.
There's no conflict of interest there.
Not kidding.
The votes cast from American servicemen and women who would defend Taiwan if anything were to happen. And he's also involved in China, who is happened to be wanting to invade Taiwan. Nobody's crossing streams there.
You can't believe it's true, but it's true. And Tommy, by the way, I want to just do a quick shout out to you before I lose video.
Is your phone gonna die?
No, not. It may. I was just up where Hunter Biden was holed up in 2016 in Chateau Montmartre, where he was paying $1,000 a night for hotel rooms. The reason why I feel for Hunter Biden, I know people don't like me defending Hunter Biden, but Hunter Biden had a guy or a friend of his and Joe Biden's who had known them for 40 years came and told me that these Blackberries, these encrypted Blackberries, were being used for energy deals. And we know that Hunter later on, it was proven. Tony Bobulinski came forward with them at the 2020 debates. All the Hunter Biden emails are out now, so we know all the Burisma stuff. We know that's true. But what the key other thing the guy said, this whistleblower, and I had the pictures of the BlackBerry, was that it's Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi on the House side. We're on the Senate side doing the energy deals for treaties. It's those guys over there at the House side that are doing all these weapons deals through Ukraine. And they're going to try to blame us for all these weapons deals. And that's what we don't like. And, so I felt like Hunter was getting dumped on at the Chateau Montmartre. He's sitting up there at this $1,000 a night hotel, waiting to hear from Tony Bobulinski. The company's called Sinohawk, which does maintenance and overflights of pipelines, to make sure nobody's messing with like Nord Stream pipelines. And I felt like Schiff shafted Hunter in 2016, still shafting him with releasing all these laptops. And here again now, it's you getting shafted. Now, I'll explain how I think Yu's getting the shaft. Yu is up in Michigan, and he looks like there's a couple of million missing, 2.5 million missing, and they're going to arrest him for election or for fraud. Well, then he leaves his phone and he races to the Lansing, Michigan airport, and he's trying to fly here and then fly home to China. They arrest him at the airport. Not making this up. Harry's got all the records on this thing. I watched the video of him being arraigned for bond. They give him a $500,000 bond, and then they say, well, we want one of those bonds that you can only have to pay 10%. So the judge cranks it to $1 million, and so they put down a $100,000 bond. Well, it looks like on October the 6th, that case is released. And he gets let out. But the same day down here in LA, the LA Attorney General puts an indictment in here. I was down at the courthouse yesterday. I did a video and put out the case number and so forth. But no bail. No bail. Not only do we have somebody who is looking like they absconded the 2.4 million in funds for the election in Michigan, but now it looks like he has a flight charge, fleeing from, I don't know, justice or whatever. So 2 charges that they give him a bracelet. So he could be walking around anywhere, as you see people go in the background here. So it's interesting because according to the terms of his bracelet terms, is he has to stay within in the Los Angeles area. So I asked the question, where would you go if you had, oh, by the way, he was giving super user access to people in China to log into these servers. Super user access to change anything they want. Where would you go right before the election if you were Adam Schiff and you had the CEO who was chained to a beeper in this Los Angeles area? I'd go right over here to the Wilshire Boulevard, right over here to the Waldorf Astoria, and say, your ass ain't leaving here. We're watching every one of those counties that you have super user access to at, and let's have some fun. I don't know if they're partying over there or not, but there you have it, Tommy. That's why I'm in LA.
It's almost like it's a timeless tactic by tyrants. There's a nice little alliteration. Timeless tactic by tyrants. Right, you always use foreign soldiers to oppress your own land because you can't get good old American boys from Idaho to go like terrorize people in Idaho. You always got to bring in someone from New York to terrorize Idaho. You take the Idaho boys and have them terrorize New York. It's as old as time. What better way to fuck with elections than to put your hand up a CCP ass and then use that as a puppet to get what you want done? And then if you've got this guy who's already on thin ice, you've got the sword of Damocles hanging right above his jugular anyway. Do as I say.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, it's Adam Schiff that accuses Trump of consorting with the Russians and says he has proof, and we go through 6 years of no proof. So he's not without blame here. And the pot calling the kettle black seems to be his number one tactic. And so I've been handing out, I'll be honest with you, I've been handing out Peter Duke matchbooks, which say they're spy matchbooks where you give out to smokers and you say, call me if you see anything funny around here. So I gave out a whole bunch of Peter Duke spy matchbooks yesterday at the Waldorf Astoria until they said, sir, are you giving people matches? And I said, only smokers who come out here.
You're going to get a lot of booty calls from guys that you don't want. But yeah, I'll show you something. See something, say something. I got something for you. Yeah, good Lord. But, that's the cost of investigative journalism is, you get one good lead and then 99 dick pics. It's, that's the uphill slog that no one wants to talk about. They all look at a Woodward and Bernstein. No one thinks about all the just pics of dicks you didn't want. But that's how you get to the gold.
Well, I gave Peter Duke's phone number and
good. All right. You're a smart man. You're outsourcing it now. You're making him filter through it. You are investigative journalism evolved. You've learned. Yeah. You've learned not to be traumatized.
But you can get these spy matches and just give them out anytime you get a lead, and just wait for people to come out to smoke because you can't smoke inside, and you just give them the matches. So I gave out a lot of matches yesterday, and then finally they said, sir, you need to move along. I don't know if you're trying matches or what. Oh no, I'm not trying to sell any matches, giving them away. And then they asked me, what's the Duke report? I said, oh, I don't know. I'm giving out matches. So it was kind of fun yesterday. We had a lot of fun. But yeah, Tommy, this is a story that just keeps on giving. The Hunter Biden story keeps on giving. The Adam Schiff story keeps on giving. And now this you story, this embraceable you story, it's like a fountain.
Yeah.
And we love it.
Is this connected to or did anything ever come to fruition with? Wasn't there a story about the 2020 election and like servers in Germany? Was that ever a thing? Is that tangentially related to this? Was that just bullshit?
That was kind of bullshit, I think. There was lasers, and they always throw satellites in there, and the Leonardo satellites and stuff. I don't know if it was used or not, but this Harry the Greek reporting is all receipts, man. It's the DOJ contract number to Konnech for providing all the overseas voting for our soldiers. And this guy does that. Now they deny the Communist Party charges. Okay. We'll see. But he was fleeing. He was looking like he had taken some money, and he was fleeing to China. And now I, again, think that we know how to run our own voting machines for a county. I mean, I used to go with my dad when I was a little kid, and they had the little counters, and they had the old ladies in the back tabulating, and it's not that complicated, I wouldn't think. So why do we have to sub it out to somebody who has ties with the Communist Party? It just seems like a way of going, you know what? We really need to win that county. We really need a district attorney there. George Soros gave you some money to make sure that our DA was going to be the person in that county. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. I don't know if there's any wrongs. Now, what he is charged for is theft of data. And the data he's stealing is personal data about poll workers and their personal communications. So So if they were talking about left or right leanings, you could eliminate the poll worker, right? Again, that's almost just as bad as trying to affect the elections. I'm not saying that there's any election fraud. I'm not. I'm just saying it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good that Adam Schiff seemingly saved his ass, saved his bacon in Michigan and brought him here and made sure he was here. And they even got one of those bracelets on his ankle right now here.
Yeah, it kind of seems like horse shit, right? I mean, they were. You could vote. Couldn't you vote in like 2002? Couldn't you like watch American Idol and like text in an answer? That was like pre-Iraq war. How is it that it's 2022 and it's like, well, we got to need 38 servers in Singapore in order to vote for Detroit? And it's like, this is bullshit. Like, you're clearly fucking everyone. It's going to take 19 days to count the vote. We're moving backwards. But we're expecting to, yeah, and it's, well, so eventually that arises, right? And that's what I always say. These people aren't stupid. They're malicious. Why is nothing? I mean, is it just total black pill? Is the system just rotted through and through, and this is the end stage of an empire as the DOJ investigates itself and finds nothing wrong, and we're watching the CCP being directly involved with our elections? Or is this just in the digital age? Are we seeing the timeless corruption more clearly, and has this always been the case of every civilization ever?
I don't know. I'm certainly not accusing Wu of doing anything with
Sure.
elections. So for the Twitter censors out there, all I'm saying is it just doesn't look good that
Well, fuck you, Twitter. I'll say it. I'll be the
yeah.
North Korea to your China. I'll do your dirty work. I'll say the stuff that you can publicly deny. Fuck you, Twitter. You're all a bunch of pedophiles.
And of course, all of my guests or when I'm at somebody else's show don't necessarily reflect my own opinions.
No,
Yeah.
they do not. I speak for myself and not for George Webb.
There you go. So we got all the disclaimers out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think it looks bad. And, thank goodness for citizen journalists like yourself, Harry the Great, Harry the Greek,
Peter Duke,
Peter Duke, yourself,
Eddie Ads.
Eddie Ads. Yeah. And Eddie's working this story as well. From another angle, and hopefully we'll all trade information and all make sure that we get this guy. I actually went, like I said, to the Waldorf Astoria. I also went to the Standard Hotel today, the one on Sunset Boulevard, the one that's associated with Adam Schiff. Not to talk about the crazy pedophile story or the crazy adrenochrome story or anything like that, but more to say, I wanted to find out how much distance there was walking between that place and the Marmont where Hunter Biden was. It turns out it's about 100 yards, maybe 150 yards. And I thought, okay, they closed this one down and then they just moved across the street. I think that was probably Election Operations Center in 1985 before Schiff ever really got started. But the Wilshire, Beverly Hills Astoria, the one on Wilshire, looks like the juice now. And I'll just have everybody know, working on the election suite up there, all of the bellboys that smoke. Look at all of them. Look at all the hotel people that smoke. And if they have Duke matches, your ass is grass. Your ass is grass. We already have your information. You may already be getting a letter from the DOJ. So now I've created a deathly fear of smokers at upscale hotels in Los Angeles, and I didn't mean to do that. I apologize.
They're just gonna think you're some health nut. George, are you using like DARPA smart dust on the matches? Are you tracking them?
I wish I was that smart. I'm not. That is a good idea, but no, I tell you, everybody says, well, why don't you get a lighter? Well, lighters cost some money, and the nice thing about matches is they can, you can light a candle with the matches for a romantic evening. There's a lot of use of match at campfire if you go camping. So the Duke Ford match, I recommend them to everybody.
You can light a fire if you live in Europe and you're re-entering a feudal age because there's no natural gas. It's
floorboards. to keep warm.
Do whatever you want. Yeah, burn your cash. Maybe, I don't know, if you've got an overweight child, you can light them on fire. It's one less mouth to feed, and it warms up your hovel that you live in.
Well, speaking of Europe, we'll just go to this last story before I die here. With this,
Before your phone dies, not George. George isn't dying.
I'm not dying. Uh, just the whole peace talk. Usually when you get to the part of the war when people are talking about exchanging prisoners, that's usually when hostilities really much have ended. And we do have those discussions happening right now.
That's good.
Yeah, and Erdogan is currently on the telephone. Excuse me. Is it? He's on the telephone right now as we speak between Zelensky and
what's up?
I got the 5-minute warning.
We're good. We're good.
Between Zelensky and Putin. So Erdogan's saying Putin's much more amenable to peace. They're trying to make Zelensky look like the tough guy, and I really do think we're going to have this peace agreement by the time the frost is on the pumpkin for Halloween on the 31st.
And that will be a week from Monday. Today is Friday, the 21st. And weren't we supposed to be looking? Isn't there a day we're supposed to be looking after, like October 24th?
The 25th is going to be the day that the peace conference is held in Berlin, and I think that's pretty much of a mop-up operation now. Things have moved along pretty quickly. I had held out the possibility that they may have a 2% type detonation of a 2% Hiroshima type neutron weapon in an underground test in one of the old steel plants to get reparations.
Mm-hmm.
But if public opinion didn't swing in the direction of paying out a kind of a second Marshall Plan, but it looks like Europe's ready to pay the $349 billion ransom with the second Marshall Plan, Bank of International Settlements again. And I think we're going to have a deal before the pumpkin turns into a frosty pumpkin.
Now, how do I get involved with this global leverage? Because, in 2 years and almost 1,000 episodes, I've made just shy of about 50 cents an episode. And I'm starting to realize that this isn't where the racket is. And then I look at these motherfuckers in Ukraine and they're just milking billions a month. And I'm like, what am I do I need to get a pea green jacket and just stand there and look pissed off like Zelensky, and will Biden just start cutting me checks? Because this makes no sense what I'm doing. There's no payment for chasing the truth and for working hard. I need to commit some war crimes and fire off some HIMARS, and I'm retired tomorrow. Am I just going down the wrong route? Am I?
Well, here's my suggestion is if you want to go to Crimea and then somehow infiltrate, use scuba gear or something to Mariupol, okay. And you could go Azovstal, and you could lay out some Rand, corporation plans for a Sam Cohen's neutron weapon.
Okay.
And then just leave a few Peter Duke matches there. That'll be the issue. And then Peter will get the call from someone in the Russian security forces, and then just say, hey, either we get a couple billion out of the final settlement here. I think it's going to be about a half going to the Rosneft and Gazprom and half going to Rothschild Energy and Burisma. Either we get half, or, you're going to have Sam Cohen to deal with and the Rand Corporation.
And Tommy's podcast.
Yeah. Well, hide behind the Rand Corporation.
Hide behind some shells. All right.
Yeah, hide behind Sam Cohen. Now remember, Kissinger and Cohen had spent 8 years together as Rand consultants during the Vietnam War, talking about using the small neutron weapons. But what was the problem there? It was a jungle war. It wasn't an anti-tank war. Here's your anti-tank war. All the things are pointing in your direction, Tommy. Time to leave the Duke report matches in the basement at Azovstal and say, we get a few billion or else.
For everybody listening, this is just loose conjecture. I don't need the FBI or the DHS or anybody showing up here. I'd love to have you guys on the podcast, and maybe we could stage a raid, and that would get me some views. But this is all conjecture.
I just said the plans. I didn't say the weapon. I said
just
the plans.
I'm not bringing a neutron bomb. I'm not. Unless the CIA wants to help me out, I'll do it for you. I'll go interview Zelensky with a neutron bomb, get some views. You guys get what you want. Get a couple Billy over to the Rand Corporation. Everybody's happy. Kissinger, email me back. I'll happily work with you. Get me some subscribers on Rumble.
I am supposed to say their accelerant is not included, or explosives are not included with the Duke Report matches. So there was a great book. You maybe we'll put it up someday. It was called Still Life with Woodpecker, and it was all about a book of matches and a guy running through Ukraine, creating havoc in Ukraine with a book of matches. So maybe you have a slight. He had red hair. You have a slight little bit of red in your hair, Tommy.
I could do a little Ukrainian shit.
Yeah. Just kind of play that role a little bit.
I'm white enough. I could pull off the Ukrainian look. I'm
Yeah,
telling
yeah.
you, if I get one of those Zelensky shirts and I just do that weird photo he does where he's always facing directly at the camera, kind of his arms at his side, just looking angry, I think I don't understand why I can't start getting some Raytheon truckloads of bullshit. I'm telling
Well,
you, the more I do this podcast, the more I realize I'm like, why am I not in the defense industry just knocking over little nations?
hey, you could be a super user and dialing into 1,000 different counties elections as well. I mean,
What am I doing? What am I doing?
yeah. So this has been a good career that we've had. Of course, we're kidding. All of this is comedy. All of this is humor. We would never put any kind of plans in the basement of anywhere. We're
Yeah, for the
loving.
love of God, just for all like legal, just like real technicalities, this entire thing is bullshit. We're not. I don't actually. I'm just talking to George here.
Yeah, right. But at all those things, there is some disturbing things with this and it does look Schiff is going to let this guy roast, or at least, like you said, have the sword of Damocles over his, over his jugular. And if we see any late night changes to vote totals, let's track it back. If we're going to do the tracking, let's track it back to the Waldorf Astoria on Wilshire here in Adam Schiff's Beverly Hills.
I'll tell you what, these elections are going to be spicy. Ain't no way there's going to be no late night fortification of votes. It's gonna look one way and then it's gonna freeze and it's gonna go another way. The real head fuck would be, man, if someone was really trying to tear this country apart, they would just do an inverse of 2020. They'd have the Democrats leading up until midnight and then have it freeze and go backwards. I don't even know. I wouldn't know what to make of that. If you really wanted to drive a wedge, if you really wanted this place burning by Christmas, that's what you do. Do an inverse of 2020.
Yeah, I think you might have something there, Tommy.
I hadn't even thought of that.
The siren is coming for Rahm Emanuel. I want to go cover that story.
Go give him some matches.
Well, he's got Rahm Emanuel's got a drug lab in Faisalabad, and you never know when our DOJ is going to catch up with him and that drug lab. No, well, it could be Rahm. It could be Rahm. Okay.
Well, he's not letting the crisis go to waste. So follow that siren.
All right. Thank you,
All right,
Tommy.
George. Love you, brother. I'll text this to you when it's up.
All right. Bye.